And we're recording, and there is Molly Mullins from WFFSA. Good morning, Molly Mullins.
Good morning, Mr. Armalini. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm real good. Happy to be here, and here we are. So we got a chance to chat a bit more intimately, even if it's not in person. I sort of like these things because I didn't have to go see you, and you didn't have to come and see me, but here we are.
We still get to connect. I would rather see you in person, but this will work just fine.
Yeah, this is really the next best substitute. So anyway, so you are the Executive Vice President of WFFSA, and that makes you in charge of a whole bunch of things. So tell us about WFFSA a little bit, because people here perhaps don't know who WFFSA is, if that's possible.
Absolutely. So WFFSA is the Wholesale Florist and Florist Supplier Association. So the majority of our members focus on the wholesale channel. We represent a myriad, as you know, in the supply chain. There's so many different sectors of it. So we represent importers, we represent growers, breeders, you name it. But the majority of what we focus on is what is the role of the wholesaler, what is the value that they bring to the rest of the supply chain, and then as an association, what is the value that we bring to the wholesaler to help them do their job better. I think they have one of the most challenging roles in the entire supply chain in the floral industry personally. So them continuing to reinvent themselves and provide additional value is no small feat, especially in the year that we've all gone through. So I'm honored to be a part of this group and represent this sector of the supply chain.
Yeah, wholesalers are always sort of under the gun because they're middlemen at the very basic level. They're middlemen. They're buying and selling, and when you're a middleman, everybody wants to cut you out. And the reality with flowers is it's not so easy to do because it's perishable, for one, and that's that in demand and breaking bulk, as I like to say. Somebody has to buy a lot so they can break it down to something less and sell it, for a little more, and to get the value out of their process. So what's Molly's role at what do you do there?
Well, I mean, a lot of your roles in association exec is herding cats, getting people where they need to go for what. I am blessed to have the board of directors that I do. They are an incredibly engaged, enthusiastic, supportive group. Ben Powell with Mayesh is our immediate past president. Tim Dewey is our president right now. Gabriel Braceras with Golden Flowers is coming in as our incoming president. Dave Legg is our treasurer and our executive committee. And these guys have all extended their terms through COVID. They have bent over backwards as we kind of reinvent what WFFSA is, as every group is doing, doing virtual trainings, education, what is in person going to look like, all that, because they want to keep everything moving forward. And I think that the most interesting trend that I've seen out of everything happening is there's been some really positive, strangely, developments out of COVID, this more everyday flower consumption that we're seeing, and people's commitment to just the beauty that flowers bring to their lives now. So what is that going to look like post-COVID? What is the new industry trends for the wholesale channel? So this board has been intimately engaged in us trying to figure out what we think that can look like, and then what WFFSA's role and the wholesale role is in that process moving forward.
Well, I happen to know all those people, and
you're okay.
And I think you're correct. I mean, look, I've watched WFFSA for my whole life pretty much. So I think I'm not Jay Schwenke. I wasn't born at a flower convention, but I've been going to them since I was 13, I think. And WFFSA has been through many iterations of what they do. But what they do well is, and the industry, because I guess it's so small, these people really do work hard. I mean, I've been on some of those boards and committees, and it's a lot of work. You have to really put yourself out there and share information that might be a little proprietary sometimes, so you're sort of you're encouraged perhaps to share information, and not the corporate secrets, but anyway, you sort of have to get together when you're in those environments and share. So I think WFFSA probably has always done a good job at that.
I mean, the gentlemen I mentioned are all competitors in various capacities with each other, and we don't see that at the board level. When they're there, we are trying to move the organization forward. You're taking off your company hat and you're putting on your WFFSA hat, and you're saying, okay, how can we do this? What's in the best interest of the organization? What are the other services that we need to focus on? Where is the wholesale channel moving forward? And it's really great to see an industry come together like that. We've been very active with the Industry Association Floral Summit, and that's a conglomerate of 10, 12 different trade associations within the floral space. We all represent different factors of the industry, but we're all sitting there together going, okay, what is in the best interest of the entire industry? What can we do from a promotions perspective? What can we do from a marketing perspective? What can we do to get people together, research, understand what's the future of the industry? And it's really kind of cool to see that level of camaraderie and engagement, because at the end of the day, everybody benefits from it.
Indeed. And here we came out of a very interesting Valentine's Day, I would say, to say the least. As we've all learned, COVID has been really good for the flower business in many cases. People are home buying flowers and enjoying them, and the demand has really driven up prices for better or for worse. So I think right now the market is strong. I predict that the market will be strong and continue to be strong through summer. And that's my result of some of the research I've done, talking to people in the industry, and everybody's basically saying, look, it's going to continue because a couple things. Production is still low. COVID, while it has been good for the flower business, it hasn't been great for production. It just made life a lot harder on the farms to get everything done and properly take care of the flowers and the fields and the plants. So I think we would continue to see a really strong market, and it's so encouraging that we have this nice phenomena. Who knew a pandemic would have really helped flowers? And your question is, what will happen after? Okay, so everybody goes back to work someday, and do people still buy a lot of flowers? And my prediction is yes, to the extent that I think people got a taste for it. I can personally say that having flowers on the table here at the house is wonderful. So I think we're set up pretty well.
It's funny. I was actually thinking about that before you and I started talking. Is will that every day continue? And I agree with you. I think that people have really seen that it actually makes them feel better. And when something makes you feel better, whether it's exercise or talking to a friend, excuse me, you continue to do that because then it becomes a part of your everyday. This is my general health and my well-being. So I think that I think you're right. You hit the nail on the head there. That is something that we're going to see more and more of, which is what we've been trying to do as an industry forever, is to get out of this holiday overwhelming sense of, is it going to work, is it not? I mean, if we had Willie, if I asked you 2 years ago, do you think that a Valentine's Day on a Sunday during a holiday weekend would be as good as it was? I mean, what would you say?
Yeah, in the middle of a pandemic. Now, yeah, I would say no, everybody's scared as hell. I think after everybody got through the first 2 weeks of the shock and way back when this thing started in March a year ago now, after the initial shock, and I think everybody had to deal with it in the way they did. They closed their shops, or they didn't close their shops, or they stayed open, or they stayed half open. I think part of what happened is the wholesalers are actually doing better, I think, and this is why. I think they're delivering less. They were going crazy. I mean, wholesalers had gotten in such a competitive mode where I'm going to deliver to the retailers 3 times a day. Oh, I'll do it 4 times a day, and I'll do it 5 times a day. So I think they all got some reality check there and said, okay, wait, you only need 1 delivery or 2 deliveries a day. That's plenty. And let's stop over servicing customers if possible. So I think everybody's cost went down a little bit because they were more efficient in what they were doing. Is that consistent with what you hear?
One of my very prominent wholesaler members said, as we would do board check-ins and things like that. He said, I didn't realize how efficient I could be until I was forced to do it. And it was very astute, because exactly what you're saying. He cut down on delivery times. He cut down on what employees. He cut down on what people's job functions were. He cross-pollinated people's activities. He cut down on the day-to-day admin expenses. And he literally said, I will continue to do that post-pandemic because it just made my company better. So, when you're forced to do those sorts of things, it's kind of a blessing in a certain way that those are the outcomes.
Yep. Um, Here's another little interesting phenomena that I've been sort of writing about a little bit and hearing more and more about. Look, the bouquet makers are buying up farms in Colombia and Ecuador like crazy. Can't really get my finger on it, but Elite and Passion, Sunshine, all the big bouquet makers are buying up all these rose farms, prominent rose farms. I would dare to say if we had a convention today where a real convention where people were showing up and displaying, the outlook would be different, or the landscape, it would be different because there's a lot of growers that suddenly are under a different banner, or maybe their banner went away and now they're just part of Elite. And what that means, I think, more importantly to wholesalers, is technically there's less flowers available for the wholesale market. Okay, that sounds weird, but I think that's the case. Supermarkets or the bouquet makers are buying it up because they need production. They need guaranteed production. So they're buying up these farms that were normally selling to wholesalers. And now all that production goes into their bouquet making operations. Many, some of them have bouquet or wholesale divisions, but if you're in the bouquet business, you're in the bouquet business pretty much. So it's hard to do both. So I think that's going to be a little challenge for some wholesalers, and force them to align themselves with closer with growers or importers or whoever, because the landscape is changing a bit.
I mean, you got to look at everything and say, I can't do what I've always done the same way. It's just like you and I aren't in person having this conversation. We had to adapt and do it via Zoom. It's no different. And the smart wholesalers see that, they recognize that. With a group of 9 other trade associations, we commissioned an e-commerce research study back in May. So, right after COVID had hit, really kind of what is your adaptation in e-commerce? What are you doing as a buyer and what are you doing as a seller? Because obviously in B2B, you're kind of both. And some wholesalers had really adapted. They had really changed the way they were purchasing, how they were working with farms, what kind of inventory they were maintaining. And others really hadn't. And I think at the end of the day, they're just not going to make it. And it's just it's capitalism at its finest, right? You got to adapt to that business model and serve your customer in the way that the customer needs to be served.
Yes, we're all having to learn some new things, I think, and it's a good process. All right, Miss Molly. Okay, there's a big the whatever, the elephant in the room, so to speak. What's going on with the convention? Is it going to happen? I'm glad I'm not you. I'm glad I'm not having to make this decision. I will personally say this is a tough one, but I got to ask the question because I either got to start making plans, or what's going on? Do we have a decision?
We are having a convention at the Floral Distribution Conference in June. We absolutely have every intention of that event taking place in person at the Doral in Miami. We are very blessed that obviously the majority of our membership is located in South Florida. So from travel restrictions and things like that, it makes it easy for people to get there. We continue to, this is something that Tim Dewey, God bless him, and he keeps him up at night. Should we do this? Should we not?
Because I'm not Tim or
no. I think we've aged him a few years in his chairmanship here with WFFSA, but we want to be mindful of what our members want, and that's what we're listening to. And they want to get together. Our tabletops are about 70% sold. Wholesalers are registering. We're getting great news coming out about new vaccines and distribution. So, it's really trending positively that we're going to be able to do this, and we're excited to be able to keep it going.
All right, so I'm hearing it out of your mouth that there will be a distribution conference in Miami in June this year.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
With real people.
With real people. I promise.
Wow.
And here's the thing: if we had to move it to the fall, that's when WFFSA did it previously. We will evaluate that, and we will be flexible to what our members need. We've told everyone you can get a refund on everything till the day of the show, because we understand how hard this is for people to make these decisions. But at this point in time, there doesn't seem to be a reason we can't proceed with what our members are asking us to do.
Okay. It's on the record here, so
Just drive on down. It's not far. You'll be fine.
I'll fire up the old wagon here and head south.
That's all you gotta do.
All right. Well, Miss Molly, thank you for your time. I hope everybody got a little better understanding what WIFS is doing, and I applaud what you're doing because I know it's not an easy job. And but the organizations like WIFSA and SAF and Cal Flowers and those PMAs and whatever, they provide a really nice background for the industry, and they are needed. And not everybody wants to be a member of something, but I think WIFSA has been over 100 years now. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been around. It's gone through many iterations, but we still support it. And I thank you for your time. And I'll get this out, and we'll let people know what WIFSA is up to, and hopefully we'll see everybody in June.
Absolutely, Willie. I'll hold you to it.
Looking forward to it. All right, Miss Molly, thank you and have a great day.
You too. Talk to you soon.
Bye now.